friend of mine in Tucson, who's an Ayurvedic practitioner, posted yesterday a little story that said, is anybody else waking up between 3 and 5 a.m.? And I have been the last couple days. And Chinese medicine has whole theories around this, but one that being different organs of the body operate at different times of the day. And the lung is the operative body organ between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. So that means it's either recovering or it's just active, or sometimes if there's disturbances during that time of day, it could be a disturbance in the lung function. And so he mentioned that he had been hearing people were waking up at 3 to 5 a.m. and just noted that the lung has to do with grief and sadness. You know, so at this time of so much global unrest, perhaps that could be a factor as to maybe why we're waking up in the middle of the night. If that's not you, that's awesome. But inspired by his post, tonight's class is going to be based around the lung meridian in the body. So the lung meridian runs from kind of the outer chest all the way down the arm into the thumb. So we're going to do poses to open the arms, to open the chest in a big way, and to get the lung meridian moving, activated. I'm not an expert in Chinese medicine, but I'm just basing the class around this best I know how to do. So some lung meridian poses. The lungs also in Chinese medicine are considered to be extremely interrelated with our immunity as far as colds and flu is concerned. So hopefully this lung meridian class will be of benefit. So go ahead and take a comfortable seat, and we're going to begin using our lungs to sing the sound of Om. And if you're at home and you don't want to do that on your own, that's totally fine. Just let me sing to you. But if it feels good to sing an Om tonight, we'll do 3. So you can go ahead and join in. Before we do that, just allow yourself to sit tall and notice how you're breathing. And see if you can feel your breath moving all the way around your lungs, so in 360 degrees. If we feel a lot of anxiety in our day-to-day, we'll feel a tightness in the chest. It'll feel hard to breathe. So just notice, how is your breathing? Maybe you've been at home and it feels relaxing to you to be at home. Maybe your breathing feels easy. I'm just checking in. And when you're ready, we'll pull our hands up to heart center. I hope the audio of this harmonium doesn't sound crazy terrible on Instagram. So we'll take a deep exhale together. You can bow your heart into your hands. And I've been using my yoga practice and my meditation practice, and I've picked up singing and chanting again, and I've been using that as a prayer of sorts. All of it, just, I don't know, sending out to the world in this crazy, crazy time. I feel helpless, to do anything other than stay home, which is of course helpful. And so I've just been sending this stuff as a prayer. And so for you tonight, if there's any intention you want to set out there, please go ahead and do so. You can bow your head into your heart. Okay, and as you're ready, you'll come onto your knees, kind of like child's pose. I'm going to move this out of the way, and we'll get right to it. So instead of child's pose proper, we're going to put our knees underneath the hips, and we're going to stretch the arms out like so, so puppy pose. I should say the first few poses we're going to do tonight are a little more yin-based, which means they might feel like intense stretches. They'll put a little extra stress on the joints and the ligaments, which is good. It's what we want in yin yoga. And then we'll finish up with really relaxing restorative poses. So these first ones maybe feeling a little more stretchy. So see how you go. If you need to pad under your knees, you could put a blanket. Okay, we're going to reach the arms out and forward. Try to keep the hips right above the knees. Stretch your arms out and let your chest melt to the ground. Okay, from here, depending on your flexibility, you could turn your head to either side. So looking to the left or the right. Very flexible, you could put your chin on the floor. Or needing a little more space, you could take a block or a pillow or both, and you could put those underneath the head. So you can prop up your forehead in some way if it doesn't reach the ground, or if it does, you could place your forehead, either ear or your chin to the ground, and we'll stretch here for a minute or two. While we're here, let your heart melt towards the ground. You might start to feel some tingling in the hands or arms, and unless that's painful, it's going to be okay for the amount of time that we're here. You can sway your sitting bones wide and let your spine drift into extension, heart melting towards the floor. And every breath, notice your breathing. In my own practice, I've also really been appreciating stillness, and so I will tonight try to talk a little bit less and leave you to enjoy the poses and stillness of mind a little bit more. We'll stay about 30 more seconds here. Take a last deep exhale or two, allowing yourself to melt into your fullest expression of the pose. Okay, and as we come out from here, just bend the elbows, let yourself slide forward onto your belly. You can stretch your toes back, and we'll just reach our arms back to the hips. You can turn one cheek to the floor. The head turned either direction, and let your shoulders rest forward and into the ground. Breathe here in between your shoulder blades. And as we come out of these poses, you'll feel a lot of sensation. So it's likely that you're feeling a lot of sensation down the arms here. Just allow that sensation moment by moment to change. You don't have to wiggle around or fix it. It's just sensation, and it will pass. And we'll take just another moment lying here. Good. We'll turn our head forward and then reach your arms forward in front of you and make stack one palm on top of the other. So you'll have a little pillow made with your hands in front of you. And then the arms should be already open and prepped for this. We're going to just let our forehead rest on the palms. So just a passive, easy opening of the upper chest. And we'll take 5 breaths here, forehead resting on your palms. Your breath will be automatically directed into your low back. And this is an extremely calming breath, so if you are experiencing any anxiety, this would be an awesome breath to do to help you fall back asleep. On our inhale, we're going to lift up. Okay, so we're going to take a shoulder stretch now, and I'll show you facing your direction. Hopefully you can tell what we're doing. 2 choices. Okay, so I'm going to reach my left arm. I'm starting on my left side so you can see. I'm going to reach my left arm straight out of my left shoulder on the floor. Okay, or this will be more intense. I'm going to bend my elbow. So my elbow is straight out from the shoulder. My elbow is at 90 degrees. My palm is on the floor. I'm going to show you from sitting up. So either that looks like this, arms stretched straight out to the side, or lying on my belly with my elbow bent, it looks like this. Okay, so one of those 2 positions, this is going to be more intense. Okay, I'm going to open my arm out to the side. You choose which. And then I'm going to roll over onto my left side body. Okay. My right foot can drift back into space like so. It can just hover there. My right knee could bend and I could place my foot on the ground. There it feels like the hips continue to sink back and towards the left. Okay, so those options, and if your head feels like it's far off the floor, put a pillow or a block under your head. I hope these poses translate in the videos okay. I wish I were there to help you with the poses in real time. Okay, however, hopefully it feels good. And again, we'll just rest here for a few, 2-3 minutes. And I'm not going to say a whole lot, so just enjoy if you have music playing or enjoy the stillness, okay, for a few minutes. All the while we're here, stay with your deep breath. So I'm leaning over to my left side, stretching the left chest, pectoral muscles, and down that lung meridian into the arm, into the upper arm, front of the arm. My right hand is propped in front of my chest, acting like a little guide to just determine how far I go. Allow yourself to breathe really deeply into all sides of the chest. Again, these first few poses are pretty intense stretches. They're more on the yin side. So allow yourself to stay with that intensity of the stretch. See if you can stay with it. Right? As long as there's not pain, the sensation will change. And so we use our breath and we employ our patience to watch that sensation change over time. Take your last couple deep breaths in this pose. Okay, as you're ready, we're going to slowly roll out onto our belly. And we're going to employ stillness as well in between these postures. So just reach both arms back. And again, let your shoulders roll into the floor. You can turn your head to the opposite direction from what you did last time. And as you come out, you'll feel a lot of sensation in that left arm, but try to just stay with stillness and stay with that sensation as it gradually changes. So really take your time. If your body needs more time in between poses, give it. And if and when you're ready, we're going to reach our right arm out to the side for the same pose, other direction. Again, your right arm can be stretched straight out to a T. I'll show you one more time. On the ground, my arm will either look like this or bent at the elbow, it'll look like this. Bent elbow is going to be far more intense than straight arm. Okay? So you choose. Okay, reach your arm straight out to the right from the shoulder, arm straight or elbow bent. I use my left hand in front of my chest like a guide. I can push into that arm as much or as little as I want. And then my back foot can drift into my back plane, left foot drifting past the right, or you can bend that knee and place your foot on the ground behind your right knee. If your head is hovering off the ground, slide a pillow underneath it and relax. So again, we're going for pretty large opening in the chest. So if it's intense, see if you can let it be so. See if you can breathe through any intensity you feel. And we'll stay about 2 more minutes. And relax your left shoulder and your jaw. And let yourself just be the non-judgmental observer of your body. You take your last few deep breaths in this pose. Really fill up your breath around the right shoulder, right pectoral muscles, right side of your chest. Breathe deep.
Really let go with your exhales. Okay, and go ahead and come out slowly. Roll onto your belly. Your arm might even feel achy. And try to pull that arm back alongside the waist again. Okay, last time here on our belly, just let your shoulders again collapse forward into the floor. So the shoulders collapsing into the floor here alone is a little bit of a counter stretch, counter pose. Okay, we're going to pull our hands by the sides of the chest and then press back here for a child's pose. You could take your knees together or wide. I'll just leave that up to your personal preference. And we're going to slide our arms back for this one. So just to get a little extra rounding and counter pose in the shoulders. Again, here, if your head doesn't come to the floor, you could place a block. Or you can place your forehead straight to the ground. Restorative yoga practice is meant to bring our nervous system into its parasympathetic state. So a deep state of rest and relaxation. Just remind yourself there's nothing to do here other than seek stillness in the body. Stillness in the mind. Pull your hands again by your sides, and from here we're going to press on up. Okay. So for our next pose, you might use a bolster if you have it. You might use blocks if you have them, and then also neither of those things are necessary. Okay, so here's a few choices for Sphinx pose. We'll come to our belly, reach your toes back. You're going to place your elbows straight underneath the shoulders, so we're in extension in the back. Okay, so we'll just start our posture here, and for some, looking for a deeper pose, okay, that would be where your bolster or blocks come in. Again, not necessary, but if I raise my elbows up, I'll feel this as a deeper extension in the spine. Okay, so that's fine if you want to hang out here, a little higher up, a little more extension. Again, you could use a bolster for that or 2 blocks. You can put one forearm on each block to stay in higher extension. And the last option for this pose, if you have a really healthy back, really flexible back, you could press your hands wide into the floor out to the sides, a little bit in front of you, and come up towards what's called seal posture. So in this pose, the elbows straighten out. We let the spine compress at the lumbar, at the low back, and the rest of the spine traction. So again, that's for really healthy backs, no pain in the low back if you want to. Otherwise, low Sphinx or Sphinx on a bolster is great. Good. Relax through your legs and glutes. Feel like there's a subtle pull forward of your heart and your chest. And for our first few breaths here, feel like there's a little string at the crown of your head, and the crown of the head just lifting up. The crown of the head gently elevating towards the sky. Check in with your breathing and check in with stillness.
so many of us having varied experiences right now. Maybe you're home alone, maybe you're home with a lot of family or kids in the house. So maybe your life has felt really slowed down, maybe it's felt really active, maybe you're still working, right? So whatever life is like, see if right now we can allow a moment for stillness. Regardless of what life looks like for you, it's likely that we're experiencing pretty busy minds a lot of the time. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's potentially a lot of grief or sadness we feel. And so for now, allowing ourselves to feel all of that, but also, can we feel that and also feel a sense of peace? In the midst of all that, can we feel stillness? And for our last few moments here, we're almost done in this pose.
See about letting your chin drop in towards your chest. So this will give you a big opening through the back of the neck. You might feel that way down in between the shoulder blades. You might even let your head sway gently side to side. Take your last 2 or 3 big breaths here. Try to let your head hang like a weight heavy towards the ground.
We're going to lift up with an inhale. Okay, from here I'm going to push down into my elbows and shift back. I'm going to walk my knees in and just come back to sit on the heels. Okay, I'm going to let my low back release that way. If you'd like to stretch out for a child's pose to release the low back, we'll just stretch out a few seconds. I like to keep my restorative practices really quiet or really mellow, and so I'll stay down. Some restorative teachers will offer down dogs in between poses. If you feel like you need that, you're at home. You can do whatever you like. Okay, and when we're ready from here, we're going to take a seat. So this next pose will have many different variations. It's a little more challenging depending on your body. Okay, so it's called saddle. The way that this pose goes is I'm bringing my knees together and sitting back on the heels, okay? But I want to take my heels wide so that I can sit in between the heels. So not everybody's knees can do that for sure, so please don't worry. Okay, a few options. So you could sit on a block or a block and a pillow, okay? Again, my knees are bent, my feet are back, wider than my hips, and I'm sitting back in between the hips. Okay, so a few different options. If you're sitting on a block, we're gonna come back to this sort of position. So a reclining saddle, but not too far. I'm still stretching the chest. I can turn my fingertips open, okay, and stretching that space from the upper chest to the thumbs. Okay. More flexible here, you could sit between your heels. You might be able to lay all the way back on the ground. I have a lovely bolster. You could put some pillows behind you. Okay, and we'll lay back. We'll just stay here about 2 minutes, so don't worry if it feels intense. If this brings any knee pain whatsoever, let's skip that with the knees. So you could stretch the legs out
and still take the chest back for this sort of pose. It'll be a little more active.
This is my one pose in tonight's class that varies a little bit. Like I would say this is an intermediate or an advanced yin pose. Okay, so definitely not for everybody because of the knee flexibility. So I'm sorry if I've lost you for this pose for the next 2 minutes. If you wanted to take child's pose even instead, feel free to do something else. Our last two postures will be so lovely and calm. If you are reclined with your arms free and you want to reach your arms way out to the sides, I recommend it just to extra expand through the lung meridian, through the chest and arms. Those in full saddle like myself, make sure your tailbone stays tucked towards the knees. Everybody in a position with the arms open or chest wide, breathe into the upper chest and feel that expansion of the chest moving down through the arms into the hands. Maybe even every once in a while a little stretch out through the fingertips. So whatever position we're in, we're going to either pull elbows underneath or push your palms to the floor and press up. Okay, and from here we'll sit to either side of our knees. Okay. You can bring your legs forward and we'll just take a little break in between these two poses on our back. Pull your knees into your chest. Okay, so we should be able to all meet up again if that last pose was challenging for some. And again, feel free to move around or wiggle your hips in any way. And again, when I practice restorative yoga, I like to bring myself into stillness as best I can in the poses and between the poses. So much of life is go, 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 and so it really serves me, I find, to cultivate stillness as often as I can. Okay. From here, we're going to roll onto the side, and then press yourself up to a seat. And this is going to be our last restorative yoga posture. After this, we'll do just a little bit of breathing and a short meditation, and then we'll get to Shavasana. So let's make this pose amazing. Okay, you're going to use all kinds of props, whatever you have. So I'm going to show with blocks and a bolster. I want this to feel really restorative. So again, not a big stretch. It should just feel rejuvenating. You should feel held. So we don't want to be in like a big back bend or any position that feels intense whatsoever. So we're going to make it gentle. So I'm going to put my blocks like so and place my bolster at a high angle. Okay. I hope you can see that. Okay, so if you have blocks and a bolster, there it is. I realize a lot of us might not, and so if not, You might take pillows. You could prop up pillows behind you. You could use blankets. So whatever would support your back in a reclined position. So it might require a few pillows. It might require a little bit of adjusting, okay, using props like so. But even with my couch pillows and a blanket, I'm pretty comfortable. I'm going to bring the soles of my feet together, okay, and open up the knees wide for reclining butterfly pose. Okay. One other variation to make the inner thighs, the adductors really comfortable is that with the knees open, I can put blocks underneath my knees. Or again, if you have pillows, your pillows could go underneath your knees so that that opening at the groin is pretty gentle. Okay, so I'll let you get yourself set up. Again, we don't want a huge extension in the back, as in it shouldn't feel like a big back bend. I want it to feel like you're, I don't know, in a beach chair, just easily reclined. Okay, so extremely comfortable. And again, you can support underneath the knees if that feels good. Okay, and so we've done a bunch of work to open the upper chest and to open through the arms. So now is this final position where we get to enjoy all of that work and let the body really restore. Make sure you're comfortable. We're going to take this pose a little bit longer, probably about 3 to 5 minutes. So we really start to slow down now. Watch your breath and let your exhales be longer than your inhales. Your exhales could be up to double the length of your inhales here. Notice sensation you feel in the inner groins and outer hips, and relax. Notice your whole spine supported on your pillows or your bolster, and let your spine relax. Let the arms feel like they're heavy weights hanging off the sides of the body, melting towards the floor. Let the palms and the hands relax. Let your neck and throat relax. Let your jaw joint relax inside of your mouth and soften your tongue. Relax your face. We'll take our last few breaths in this pose with full body relax. As your body relaxes this deeply, maybe the mind follows. Nice job. We made it 5 minutes in that pose. So now this pose is in your repertoire. This is a pose you could practice 10 or 15 minutes if it felt that good. For today, we'll move on. Let's reach our arms up overhead. And then reach your arms down to your knees and pull your knees back to center. Let your knees touch. Good. Place an elbow to the floor alongside you, and then we're just going to roll over onto that side, okay, to press ourselves up. Okay. And from here, we're going to press ourselves into a seated position. We're going to do just about 5 minutes of pranayama exercise, so breathing exercise, really simple. And then we'll rest for shavasana. If you're not into doing a little breathing exercise, feel free just to lay flat on your back now and rest. But since we've worked the long meridian tonight, hopefully our breathing's feeling good and a little breath work will feel good as well. So we're just going to do an extremely simple breath called Nadi Shodhana. It's alternate nostril breathing. Okay, and so the most complicated part is just the hands. I'm going to bring my, I hope you can see, my pointer finger and middle finger into my palm. So sticking out is my ring and pinky finger and my thumb. So I live in Hawaii, a lot of you do too. This is like a shaka, plus the ring finger is also up. And then I'm going to put my ring finger on my left nostril and my thumb on my right. Okay, so like little crab pinchers, thumb, right nostril, ring finger, left nostril. Okay, take an exhale through both of your nostrils. Close your right nostril and inhale left side. Close left side, exhale right. Inhale right side. Close right side, exhale left. So that's the idea. I hope that made sense. I'm going to add a count to the breath now. So we're going to inhale for 4, hold both nostrils closed for 4, and then exhale through the opposite side for 7. So 4 counts in, 4 count hold, 7 count exhale. Okay. So again, we're going to close off the right nostril. We'll inhale the left nostril for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the nostrils, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale right side for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. and exhale left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See if you can continue on for another few rounds with that same count. If that count is difficult, just inhale and exhale alternately. Or inhale, exhale. Make sure your exhale is a little longer than inhale. And you can hold the breath in between only if it feels good. Okay, so let's try a few rounds of that. Go ahead and do your best on your own. Remember, it's in for 4, hold for 4, out for 7, best you can. When you do hold your breath in between, as you hold your breath, relax everything. Relax your jaw, your shoulders, your mind. Those pauses should be the most relaxed moment. Just complete stillness, complete emptiness. Let's go ahead and do one more round. You'll finish up with an exhale through your left nostril. Once you've finished with your round, go ahead and place your hands in your lap, any way that's comfortable. And for just a 2 or 3 minute meditation, maybe we'll sneak in 5. I want you to notice the breath in your nostrils. Notice which nostril you feel the breath in more fully. Oftentimes, one nostril feels a little more open than the other. See if you can identify it. Then see if best you can you balance the sensation of breath you feel and try to notice where the breath from each nostril meets at the back of the nostrils. So higher up and towards the upper portion
back of your nostrils. See if you can feel where the two streams of air meet and become one. Relax your eyes. And every time the mind wanders, and it will, just come back to the really neutral sensation of breath in the nostrils. Breath up towards the back of your nostrils. And you can feel the breath enter in at the tip of the nose. Follow it to hit up through the back of the nose, and then follow as it exits back down. See if now can you follow the breath from the nostrils up towards the very top and back of your head. Okay, so almost your crown, maybe a little bit back. Can you feel your awareness slip up to just above your head? And try to hold your awareness right up at the crown of the head or just above. If it's hard to hold your awareness at the top of the head, continue to watch your breath in the nostrils. So feel free to stay with this meditation as long as you like. Also feel free now to lie out for Shavasana and take a long Shavasana, take a long rest. You might cover yourself up with a blanket. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you have a wonderful sleep. I look forward to seeing you again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. New videos are coming out every week. Thank you.